at the moment, I'm trying to figure out how long this fight is going to go. Because clearly, Ironside is stronger than the entire main cast. I mean, he would get messed with a little bit. It doesn't really amount to much when we know that, one, he's busy doing something else, and he's really doing this with for the most part, one hand. And he's like just throwing these little cross slashes out, just swordsman doing stuff, but for the most part, he doesn't seem to be taking the guy seriously. Obviously, a good showing of that is he's not doing anything really that seems formidable with his with his magic, with his abilities. It just seems like he's being like, okay, whatever, yeah, you guys do your thing. I'll humor you, kind of like setup. But because of that, it's made me wonder how long again this fight is gonna last. Because I don't think he's gonna be defeated here. It'd be really weird if he was, because Ironside. The thing about Ironside that's very strange is he's not, at least currently, set to be like the big villain of like the arc. There's nothing really outside of obviously the ties to Percival currently that would put him even at like, arc 1 bad guy, like a big portion enemy to defeat, kind of like how Hendrickson was in the first portion of Seven Deadly Sins. But with him, he just seems like he's like at the moment a powerful bad guy with ties to the main character, obviously Percival. The question is, when we get later to him, is he going to be even like the, maybe first arc bad guy, second arc bad guy? Like, what exactly is his, I'd assume, end setup going to be? After his role is done, I don't imagine he'll stick around. I would assume that once we get to the point where he's defeated and we get past like his, the whole setup with Percival wanting to get revenge on him, unless he has some like big secret he'll reveal like upon his defeat, I would assume that after that point he'll either be functionally killed, where it's like he's not going to be the same thing, as it progresses, as like his role in the story. Funny enough, kind of like Hendrickson was. Like after that, it was just like, hey, I exist, but mostly that's about it. But at the moment, at least, he's still strong. He's still powerful. He's still a formidable bad guy, and I like that he's got that presence. In comparison to the other cast members, in comparison with the cast members, like the main cast people, he's like this roaming bad guy. Like, the way that I would kind of describe it is like Pokemon, you have the legendaries, and then he's like Suicune, or actually, all three of them are roaming, right? I haven't played the Soul Silver Heart Gold or Silver Gold Crystal in a long time. But like I remember them. Yeah, I think Suicune you get in Crystal, but like otherwise they're all roaming. It's been a while, but either way, you know what I mean. He's like this powerful bad guy that's like up in scale because he's clearly not fodder. I mean, none of the Holy Knights I would imagine are going to be fodder, at least at the within this first span of time. It's not like Seven Deadly Sins first arc. Meliodas and them are just running through Holy Knights like they're just completely 2 for 1 like. They seem still, to a degree, pretty strong. We don't have for sure like a full ranking of them. I would really like to know like where Ironside ranks, to see like the number 1 within Arthur's like whole set of Holy Knights. I doubt it. I would assume that he's at least top 5. I would guess top 5. I think would be a really good spot for him. If he was number 1, I'd be pretty shocked seeing him be here already. Just because like a character like number 1 of the overall main antagonist rather of Four Knights of the Apocalypse. I doubt there'll be anybody beyond Arthur as an opponent. So if freaking Ironside was if he was number 1 and we got him as like the starting bad guy, the starting kind of like not big bad, but like I said, kind of like a roaming big bad opponent already, that'd be a shocker. But for now, like, the chapter pretty much opens up exactly where it left off. You have Percival using his big magic hand slam, but he just could, it gets he gets cut in half, borderline cut in half. He doesn't get the whole thing, but he cuts most of it where he's at. Like, Ironside just says nope. Percival's still trying to do stuff. He's throwing his little tiny chibi Percivals at him. He's shooting them out like little key blasts. They're like going at it, not doing anything. I doubt it would. It was made by giants and goddesses and all these big high-end people thousands of years ago, so Percival being able to break it would be completely crazy. Like, at least at the start. If this was like way later series Percival, I'd be like, yeah, he's probably going to have hacks abilities and just like unfair moves and techniques and weapons and stuff that obviously he doesn't have now, because like right now he mostly just has his power, which outside of healing, it's not that crazy. Like, it has high potential, but for the moment, it's like he shoots out the little mini Percivals, and then he's got like his whole, essentially, like he's like a lantern where he's just has raw energy and he's shaping it into different things. But there was nothing he could do. The way that I would have guessed maybe he would do it is like he would have like instead shot his magic into like the thing, and then maybe like through the cracks, like the little mini Percivals kind of go in there and like almost like bursting out, trying to separate it instead of just trying to like slam in it or pull on it. I don't know. But Ironside doesn't seem to take them too seriously. He's he's just like, whatever, I see you guys are, you're doing your thing here, you want the coffin, whatever. There's a clear tone for him that he looks at them as children. And I know that like they're all 16 and stuff. I would assume that Ironside is probably in his mid-30s or something, and the way that Percival is, he actually does, I mean, he looks like a kid, but we know he's older than that. He's 16. Ironside obviously wouldn't know for sure because that's his dad. But he doesn't seem to have any form of like he feels like he's threatened. He feels like he's completely fine. And like after they're like looking at the attacks, like I would agree. Like if we were this low on the totem pole, I would have like if I saw this attack, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing this. Like Donnie just up and goes. He knows that what is he gonna do here. The only person probably that could tank that would be Percival. Maybe Anne, because Anne showed that she was actually pretty strong in this chapter. And I would assume that in terms of fighting capability, that she's the top. Like, assuming she, she's not officially in the main cast. I feel like it's kind of obvious that she is going to be in the main cast. But, if you compare them to the other people, obviously she's over Donnie. We don't know anything about Sin. Nonsense is kind of like her, kind of like where I would guess, like her, actual if you had to have them all fight her adversary in the group, when you look at the two of them, I guess Nonsense would have he has a better power, but he also has like the fighting capabilities where I feel like she could outfight him. Like we saw how it was like when they first scuffled, but like I don't think that Nonsense was serious at that point. One day I'm gonna actually figure out like the correct pronunciation of his name. If somebody actually knows, put it in the comments. I don't know why. I feel every single time I say Nonsense that it's not his name, or at least not how it's pronounced. But with Percival's got the best power, but he doesn't seem to have any real fighting experience. He's like tangling and scrapping with his grandfather, but that's about it. I doubt he was ever in a real serious battle, even amongst those. Like maybe the most it would just be like a time where he's just really determined to beat his grandpa, but obviously it's not like a death match or anything. It would just be like, normal motivation. You're just competing and you want to win kind of thing. Donnie, though, there was the fact that Donnie, when he said that if he dies, it would be all over, and I'm very curious exactly like what that means. Like Donnie's role in the story, I don't think is just bound to be a gag character. I know he's funny, he's a silly dude, but one, he's got a good power on top of that. But I assume that he's got some secret reveal up his sleeve. Like he's gonna be somebody bigger than what he is. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it's revealed that he's like the son of Zeldris and freaking is it Gilda? Gildra? I'm trying to remember her name. It's been a bit. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was revealed like he's their son or something kind of crazy. He has this hairstyle somewhat similar to him. The only thing that would be really weird is if there was if he was actually the son of Zeldris and I think it's Geldra, because no, Gildra? Man, I need to look at names after this. Like there's a couple names, because it's not Jericho, it's Gila, and then I think Geldra is the vampire. Those two, like, I get their names mixed up all the time. I know exactly the characters, I can name stuff about them, but when it comes to like their names, it messes me up every time. Or if he was related to her as well, just because of like, I don't know, I guess like hairstyle sort of. But it wouldn't surprise me if he was revealed to have some big connection to somebody like Zeldris. The only question I would have is he more how come he doesn't have vampire or demon traits? If there was some reason for it, like some reveal, like maybe it's sealed or something. Like maybe Zeldris wanted, like, obviously this is hypothetical. Like if Zeldris was like, oh no, I want you to go out and do X, Y, Z, to get stronger or whatever, and go train. Or maybe it's like because he was a mixed race, there's like, instead of just being like half vampire or half demon, it's like some weird hybrid. Like maybe he's a daywalker, but he has some of the powers, but he doesn't have all the benefits. I don't know. But Donnie running off, obviously, like I said, it lays out something obviously important with him, whether it's like big scale important or it's like just some kind of like personal plot stuff that'll get revealed with him. Either way, I like Donnie so far, so I'm interested in that. That's probably my favorite little piece of information that we got in the chapter. It was mostly fighting, so like the progress of like a character that we don't have a lot of is good. Like, we obviously got the whole stuff with Nasians and his grandfather and Echo Gorge. We've got Anne who just showed up, but we've already seen like the stuff with her powers and like the situation with her dad. We even know stuff about her mom and how her mom was a Holy Knight. She wants to go be a Holy Knight as well. I mean, I would assume at least an equivalent. Like, if she joins the main cast, I don't think she would really matter if she becomes an official Holy Knight, if she becomes strong enough to fight one, and then also kind of like is on a different, essentially in a different faction. Because I still assume all of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse are going to have their own little cliques. They're going to have their own crews of a couple people. But yeah, Ironside just doesn't seem to be taking Percival that seriously. Percival's making his big magic sword, and Ironside, without even turning around and using one arm, is just kind of like clashing it all out, slashing it. The one thing I did really like in the chapter that didn't see, like, it's not something that's really important, but it's something I feel like is going to be utilized later, is when he cuts through Percival's magic sword, and you see, like, Percival's sent back, and then you see, like, the part of the blade that was cut kind of, like, slowly, one, it's falling, but you see, like, the little chibi Percivals coming out of it, and then eventually, before it even hits the ground, it just turns into a bunch of the chibi Percivals, which is really cool. Because think about it like this. In like a scenario where, like, Percival maybe is fighting somebody, like, that he actually, can fight somebody he can defeat. If somebody did a similar move and then, like, thought that, it was just like, oh, I just cut through his magic sword, he's either defenseless or, it's going to take him a minute to reform it, whatever their, their mindset, it'd be like, he can have them turn into those mini Percivals, maybe, like, without his opponent realizing about it, and then have them attack, have them rush and maybe get a surprise attack. But it also means that his magic can still be utilized even after it's severed like that, which is cool. I do like that, because it's like a completely different thing if you're like shooting out the magic that turned into the little chibis, and an attack that you're like a technique that you've already kind of set up and dispensed, that after it's essentially dealt with, it still has like a reutilization factor. It still does the same thing. It'd be like if he could make the chibi Percivals kind of just explode. Very, very basic power that he could do. I mean, literally just easy example, you look at the Go tanks and Super Boo ghost attacks, like, they explode after using it. You could have something like that for Percival. And again, it's a super basic kind of attack switch for these, but it would work. And on top of that, like I said, he'd throw them all at him. Like, imagine if he tried to use them, it's like, oh, well, these aren't that dangerous, so, you're not getting overwhelmed. And then he's like, okay, plan B, and then, has them explode, it turns into attack. Because I would assume Ironside's, like, given that idea, if he's like, oh, these aren't going to do anything, and they got on him, he wouldn't care. It'd be like, whatever, they're not going to have any purpose, they're not going to hold me down or, like, distract me or stop me anyway. But then they explode. It would be, again, a really cool way to utilize his whole hero type and the way that, how weird his power kind of shifts around in these different categories. And, it could benefit him in fights and his techniques and stuff. I think that's just going to come down to Percival when we get to, like, Percival being more battle-hardened. But when Ironside goes to try and strike him, we have Anne go and block it with her rapier, which was really cool. I figured she was going to be, like, capable of fighting. I didn't think that she's going to be this capable. I didn't think she's going to block Ironside's sword. Granted, he's not turned around. He's using one arm, she's using both hands, and it's very clear that she's fighting more seriously than, he's doing. He's, again, not even taking him seriously whatsoever. But she's talking to him, doing her thing, telling him, like, how, he should be ashamed, trying to kill, trying to kill his own son, and she's just doing her thing, fighting him. We see her do a lot of, cool, like, rapier, based fighting styles, lots of lunges, lots of, stabbing attacks. I've never been a big fan of the rapier, like, My favorite kind of sword, obviously, like, fictional-wise at least, because, you gotta be, in real life, it wouldn't be functional, is, the ultra great swords, that are just massive great swords, like Guts has, stuff like that. I've never been a rapier guy, but I think that she's utilizing it pretty well here, obviously, and she's not making much for advancements. Like, she manages to get, like, a small, wound on him, while she gets, like, her whole dress kind of ripped up, and when we see her rip her outfit, and then have her whole, like, more set battle attire, she's got like the shorts and like the combat skirt, she's got, I don't know what it'd be, like a vest or anything, But I know it's more. I know it's good. People are gonna be it's more practical, but I preferred actually the big dress because I thought it was cooler that she could fight like that. And I know, obviously, like I said, it's more fun. This is more functional, but I mean, it's a fictional series with people with magic and abilities. She could literally fight like that, and it wouldn't really matter in a fictional series with people have powers and stuff. I just thought it was cooler, and especially like when we see her fighting. I just like how with like she's got this big dress, you're seeing it kind of swaying around. I thought that was just really cool. But either way, I'm all right with either of them. Obviously, like I said, I have a preference. I think the dress looks better. But like I said, that's just my opinion. Nasian's apparently like used his poison enchanting on a rapier, so you had him like Ironside like having like a numbing kind of like paralysis effect. And it's funny because I actually watched Quanticredible's review on this one, and the thing that he was like upset about is like he didn't use like a more deadly poison. My guess is there's like a level to like maybe like effort that he has to put in the poisons, but maybe his Hellbane is just Hellbane or Henbane or whatever. It's like his go-to. Like assuming like this is an assumption of how his powers work, because we know like how the base ability works. But what if it's like more dangerous abilities take more time to prepare? Like his basic one, like this one that he's obviously using, maybe it's like he could do that one at the drop of a hat. That one he could just instant cast, whereas like a deadly poison, maybe it's like a couple second cast. Just think of like a video game kind of setup. That's again an assumption. It could just be that that he just didn't want to kill Ironsides with this whole setup. I don't know why he wouldn't, but maybe he's like thinking more of like Percival's side. Percival might want to get some, we know that he wants to get information out, so maybe that's why. We could easily get an explanation in the next chapter, but I can definitely understand if we don't have something that makes sense of it. It would be really weird for him just to be like, I know I could have done something that could kill you, but instead, I'll do a paralysis thing. I don't know. It would be strange. Or maybe it'd be like, he would have noticed a poison-based ability way earlier or something like that. It would just be, some variable in there that would be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. But he's not taking this seriously. But at the same time, he's like, all right, cool. If you guys are gonna be like that, how about I let you guys really taste some despair? So next chapter, I'm guessing we're gonna see a little bit more of his general abilities. Maybe get the name of like how his magic works and a description of it. Because the only thing we really see, I think, additional in this chapter, I have to go back and look at the other ones, but when you see him using it, at one point, you see the lines that he's making in the air with his finger. And I don't know if it's like just some, generic energy slash thing, if it's like a spatial slash, if it's something more kind of like weird and, offbeat than that, I don't know. I'm hoping we get something in the next chapter. Or a display of a different magic, because Ironside is clearly powerful. He's clearly going to be a recurring bad guy, so I would hope that he has more than this. I assume that he does. Obviously, that's, again, a headcanon, because we don't have anything really to go off of outside of a couple attacks. So, we'll see how that goes. I am enjoying the fight so far. It was mostly, like, fight stuff in general this chapter. Like, not, like, if you look at the last chapter, there was a good span of time that happened. Like, this chapter probably happened within the span in their world of like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Like, it's not something that like progressed a lot of what was going on. It was very set in these events. So we'll see exactly how things really go down within the next couple. But again, I'm hoping the next one is more on Ironside, because I think what happened in this chapter was more of like a team thing. It was more on the main cast kind of setup. We got stuff with Donnie. We obviously got to see Anne fight. We got to see Percival have a better control of his magic. At least I'm not seeing it being more tactical. Sin hasn't done anything yet, but I'm guessing whatever Sin does is going to be a big surprise reveal. Anyway, other than that, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this and how exactly you thought this went. Actually, better question. Tell me if you prefer Dress Anne or like battle outfit Anne, just because that's or Annie, whichever one. I guess Anne is still short, because I mean, like, Annie would be short for her actual name. Was it Anna Galahad or something? Anne Galahad, and then Anne would just be an even shorter version of that. Either way, yeah, tell me which one you prefer. That I mean, obviously, like I said, I prefer the big dress. I think it just looks better in panel of like how she's moving around fighting. I think it looks cooler. But like I said, I feel like people are going to prefer the more practical one. We'll see. Either way, though, comment below. Thumbs up the video, friend the like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. But on that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.